father instilled the work ethic in me early on, 2 years of age. He had me move a load of bricks from the highway to where he's going to build the fireplace with my little red wagon. I did it in 5 days, working from
At age
daylight
2?
till at 2. I was still in diapers. He'd be put in jail for that today. But that, and my mother screaming, "The baby can't do it. The baby can't do it." And I never thought of myself as a baby. I was always a big boy. And so I couldn't wait to get started.
And so he was actually, in his mind, building a work ethic in you.
Right, and then he built a savings ethic in me too. I made a dime for cleaning the horse stables out next door from the rich guy, and I come running home and showed it to my dad. We were dirt poor, and I said, "Look, Dad, I earned a dime." He says, "Give me that dime." And he laid it on the table, and he reached in his pocket and he took out 5 pennies and a nickel. And he took a mason jar and cut a slot in the top of it and put one of the pennies in the mason jar. He says, "Now the 9 you do whatever you want to with, but every bit of money that you ever touch in the world, keep 10% for your old age." And you know it works.
And so you have gratitude for him, even though he was hard. I mean, making you work and taking your money.
He was harsh,
but
yeah,
it was.
but he put it in me.
He put it in you.
And it's a no-nonsense deal. See, I'm of the school, you don't work, you don't eat. Simple as that.
Sure, sure. Do you think you've transferred that to your kids as well?
No, you can't do it in this modern society. They don't think anything like that.
Yeah.
They think I'm too harsh.
What are your observations about? What have you learned along the way from starting a farm boy that drives cars, and here you are, worldwide reputation?
Well, I learned a lot about mechanics for sure. The sport today doesn't interest me because they like to tear the stuff up to go faster. My whole goal in life was to win the races but not destroy the engine, because I had to do it to make a living. And if I destroyed the engine, all the profit was gone. But today, with the big corporate sponsorships, winning is everything. And the last few years that I came back and tried to compete in 2002 and 2003, I didn't do well because I wouldn't blow the engines up to make a better time. I would run whole events and never take my car apart. I took pride in that I knew how to get just exactly the right amount of horsepower out, but not destroy the engine.
What's been the hard part? What's been the disappointments, the places where you've fallen down and you've wondered, am I doing the right thing? What are some of those things that come to mind?
But outside of the career, I made a couple of choices that I wouldn't make again in my investment world.
Do you want to tell me about it?
Well, there was a time when way back in '80, when the Hunts cornered the silver market, I had a lot of silver at that time, the $1,000 bags, U.S. coins, and they were worth $1,000 a bag. That's what I paid for them. And the coin dealer offered me $25,000 a bag for as many as I would bring him. And I should have done it because the government arrested the Hunts for manipulation. The silver market collapsed and it went back to like $1,000 a bag.
What's been the most satisfying part of your career?
I guess winning the Nationals in 1984 with a car out of the museum, 4 years old, everybody laughing at us. Went to Indy, won, had top speed of the meet, then went to the World Finals and beat the best, and then got the big sponsorship and competed for 2 years.
So what advice would you have for some young person starting out in this?
Well, don't think of this as a career to make a living. Think of it as just a sporting deal and do your sportsman, which is inexpensive, and run and see if you really want to do it. And getting into the top professional leagues is different today than it was then. It's a hard job. You have to work for the teams, and you have to really be good to get recognized.
And you might also say save 10%.
Well, I'd say that to everybody.
What kind of legacy would you like to be remembered?
Well, a God-fearing man that was fair to everybody. I never bankrupted a company, never wrote a bad check, and that's the kind of legacy I want to leave.
Wow.
As a teenager and on into young adulthood, I spent a lot of time working on cars. Great fun. And occasionally, me and my friends would go to the drag races at Lodi or out at Fremont in the Bay Area. And of course, one of the superstars was the great Big Daddy Don Garlits. So to meet him later in life and have this chance to interview him was a real honor. And so, hats off to 85-year-old Don Garlits.